everyone to another episode of Spooky Japan Podcast. Hope everyone is doing well. Today we have a very special guest, Don with Haunted M.D. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. We've been looking forward to this. So anyone who's watching who's not familiar with you, how would you introduce yourself?
So I'm basically a physician. I'm a working physician, practicing physician that is interested in paranormal, afterlife, and ghost hunting, and trying to make sense out of even like psychic abilities and kind of all the different things. I'm kind of interested in how it all works. So basically, I'm a hospital-based internal medicine physician who does ghost hunting on the side, and I'm also interested in afterlife and near-death experiences and how patient stories and all that kind of stuff. So try to loop that in, and I'm also, like I said, I'm interested in mediumship and how that all works too. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's me.
How long have you been into this stuff? Have you always been into the paranormal, or did that start at a certain time in your life?
So I've had experiences all my life. Some of the earliest experiences as a kid, I remember just seeing things and hearing things and talking to my mom. One of the things that was cool, I think, with my family and my upbringing was my mom and dad were pretty open to like talking about it. My mom was more spiritual, like into spirit guides. Hey, um, my mom and dad, like my mom was more religious. She was into like, Jesus angels, all that kind of stuff. My dad was more like your UFO, Bigfoot, ghost hunter kind of guy. So we
Mhm.
always kind of had this open forum as kids to talk about, all kinds of weird experiences and things like that. Sometimes my dad as a kid would take us out. I'm from, from Ohio, in the United States. And there's a lot of like country areas with trees and forests and all that stuff. So we would go out looking for Bigfoot. It would scare the crap out of me as a kid. But that just gives you some idea about why I think I'm so open-minded to it. So anyways, my mom and dad were pretty open to it pretty much all my life, from childhood, teen years, up into college, medical school, all that stuff. I had a lot of experiences. I never realized you could really research it, I guess, until I seen the ghost shows. I remember it was like
Yeah.
early 2000s. Yeah, I saw taps, ghost hunters, and I'm like, what? I was like, you can go out and look, people are going out and like investigating this stuff. So I learned about that, but even then I still didn't really start investigating until I moved from Ohio to Virginia in 2009. And then I came across a team in Virginia called Twisted Paranormal Society around 2011, 2012. And they were looking for somebody. And I'm like, hey, maybe I'm going to join a team because it'd be cool to kind of get out. And when I initially started investigating was trying to make sense out of all these experiences I had, like, what's going on here? Is it, is it ghost? What is all this stuff? So that's, how I got into investigating. And then around 2018 or so, I decided to kind of branch out and maybe do a little more of my own thing. And I started getting interested in instead of just pure ghost investigating, near-death experiences, children with previous lives, trying to spread the word. I wanted to try to bring some credibility to the ghost hunting community, that, hey, look, there's a physician that's doing this. So wanted to get bring out a better name and then kind of go in different ways. And I was hoping to kind of get out and lecture folks about, do talks about what it's like to be a doctor who ghost hunts and all those kind of things. So that's kind of, and where I am now, it's, I'm basically have my Haunted M.D. Haunted M.D. is pretty much myself or my wife now. Sometimes we'll go out, we'll show out together. And then what I have been doing over the last 3 or 4 years or so is I've been kind of team or going along with other teams, kind of, helping them out and doing some public events and public investigations. And that's that's where I am right now.
The fact you see Irene's cat in the picture means that the cat sees a ghost.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there is a person with you.
With me?
Yay! Back here, near the door.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I saw her even before you said it.
Yeah, I don't.
I
I
looked over there
don't
and
want
saw
to
it
say.
before you said it.
People say you should tell me. I said, and some people say, don't tell me. I go, okay, I won't.
Wait a minute. So you're saying there's a ghost in my place?
Right near the door. On that
Oh,
side.
really?
Yeah.
No way. Holy cow. Well, it's funny you mentioned that because we do have activity here. Like I've already heard like disembodied voices, and we've heard like unexplained sounds and stuff like that. So it's weird you said it. Actually, this is a townhouse. I'm on the bottom floor. There's a floor above, which is the main living area, living room, kitchen, and then above that is our bedrooms. But in the floor above us, there's been a few times where I've been sitting in our living room and I'll hear a little girl's voice. And at one time it said hello, another time it was laughing. Yeah, so it's interesting you say that. Interesting, yeah.
Oh, I'm hearing it speaking to me. It's okay. Yeah, we're gonna go on.
Is it what kind of, is it a male or female or?
There are a couple. There's an older lady, and the child just shows up briefly, but she tries to stay kind of like hidden. The adults are more stronger than the children sometimes. So
yeah. Interesting. Well, now I got to chill on my back. Now I got to chill on my back, you guys.
Don't worry about it. I do this all the time. Every time we have a podcast, it's part of my work, right? I think
it's interesting. Well, but you're not the first person to say that, because I've been on some other podcasts and I've been to some events, and different people come up and said, I feel like there's somebody behind you or somebody with you, and man, spirit of this spirit. Yeah, so it's interesting you say that, because it's not the first time. So it's curious to me, because it seems like maybe there is something, because if one person tells you, you're like, I'm always a little skeptical as a doc, but it's been consistent. Like I think I don't even know, like 6th, 7th person to tell me that they feel there's stuff around me. So
I also feel that there's a family member who did pass away a long time ago too.
Oh wow, interesting. Yeah, one older lady, my grandma, my dad's grandma passed away when I was a teenager. Or my dad's mom, I'm sorry, my grandma on my dad's side. My grandma on my mom's side just died a few months ago. So
that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting. And I'm getting the other one, the other relative on your father's side too. She's there too.
Yeah, that's be my grandma Molnar. Yeah.
She's watching over. She's like, I think it's fantastic that you do what you're doing, but just be careful, because there are things out there that you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually fun. Let me tell you, this is weird. This is really weird. So my grandma Molnar, my dad's mom, she actually was into some of the occult stuff. I mean, not real bad, but she, like, I didn't understand when I was a kid. I understand it now, and it would probably, if I would have known then what I know now, it would have been cool to talk with her. But she was kind of more into like some of the, like, I mean, not like any kind of like devil stuff, but like more of the occult, like maybe even like voodoo kind of stuff. But I don't know. It was all kind of stuff I heard second and third hand. But it's interesting you say that, because if she would be, of course, I guess if you're a spirit in the spirit world, either way, but she's somebody that was kind of dabbled in it and would have, I could see my grandma Molnar saying that. So that's interesting you said that.
She also said that, do you have a crucifix?
Yeah, I got a couple of them.
Wear one around your neck when you go to work or when you do things, because you might need it.
Interesting, yeah. Interesting.
I don't know if she was religious or not, but she believed that it did help. It's a mild protection piece, and it does help in situations where you really don't want yourself to get into certain situations. That's why you might find yourself caught in a what the heck do I do? That's what she's talking about.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. Well, the other thing that's kind of interesting, I've been thinking about, this is kind of pertaining to that. I've been thinking about doing a project where I kind of do more solo investigations. And I know sometimes people frown upon that, like, you shouldn't go in by yourself. I did one a couple of years back, and it was, it turned out okay. But I guess if I was by myself and something happened, maybe that's a warning to maybe not do it.
Sometimes, people say, well, I can only do it alone, but sometimes you can't find partners, right? Like Amanda and me, we live too far apart from each other, right? She'd have to take a 2-hour plane ride to come visit me, and we could go together, right? And she has a family, and I've got a family too. So you may find that your situation may be like, what am I going to do? I want to do this, but I'm alone. But then you have to think about, okay, I'm going to tell my wife, I'm going to tell my family where I am. what time I'm leaving, what time I get there, text them what time I get there, what time I'll be finished, and
Yeah.
when I'm going to be going in the car, and what time I'm leaving. I mean, that's the best thing that you could do, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, otherwise, you're stuck because you want to go there and everyone else is busy. Who else can you call? I get that too, because I do it alone too, and I'm not supposed to do it alone. But who else?
Yeah, and I
Who
think
else?
for me, I've been trying to like I love working with people. I got some great people I work with. Actually, I think Spirit Guides was flashing up some comments. Spirit Guides, Donnie Parker. I worked with him, and I work with a lot of great people, and I still like doing that. But I kind of, from my own like skepticism and my
Mhm.
own like
Mhm.
my own like my own thought process,
Mhm.
that I want to kind of go in my alone or go with just my wife,
Yeah.
kind of do things I want to do. Like there's certain things I want to try to approach. And sometimes working with groups, you just don't get a chance because you don't want to, it's kind of hard to say, well, I want to do
And
my thing now.
if they're not like this with you, it falls apart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they don't think the way that you do, if they don't have the same thought process that you do, it kind of like crumbles, right? So you don't get to do what you really want to do, and everyone else is saying, "I want to do this and I want to do that," and you say, "Hold on a second, I mean, I invited you. This is what I aim to do. This is what I want to do, and this is what we're gonna do." It. You can't really say that to other people, but sometimes you
Yeah.
should.
So I've been wanting to try, a little bit on my own, just to try, and plus just to experience it on my own. Like I always experience with other folks. I'm kind of like, how would it be just experiencing it on your own, where there's nobody else
Mm-hmm.
kind of contributing in any way, So like I did one, I did a by myself in December of 2022, and it was a lot of work because I did a lot of setup. I set up all these stationary cameras and equipment everywhere, so it was a lot of work to set up and break down by myself. But it was interesting because it's just you, so there you kind of eliminate the possibility of contamination from somebody else being there.
Yeah.
The only thing I was telling my wife about this the other day is, when you're out on an investigation with somebody and something good happens, you get excited. And I found myself having something good happen, but I couldn't really share it. I was like, "Oh my god, look at that!" And it was just me and the ghost, right? So,
It looks like you had a big slice of cake and you're so happy and you're
there's
tickled
nobody.
pink,
Yep.
and you think, "Geez, I can't tell anybody." Right?
There's nobody to share with, but I try to video all the good stuff that happens.
Yeah.
But no, and the teams I work with, they're excellent, and it's nothing against anybody. It's just my own personal
Yeah.
trying to make sense out of it, because I love all the people I work with or that I go out and investigate with. They're all good people. Everybody's that I work with, and just several different groups I work with or I have worked with.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's interesting.
And as long as you also tell someone, and when you investigate alone, where you're going to be,
Yeah.
when they should expect to hear from you.
Yeah.
This way, if they don't hear from you, they at least someone knows where to go looking for you.
Yeah.
So it's not like 3 days later, someone just happened to find you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those alone investigations would be private type situations, like the one I did. The one I did, in December of 22 was a good friend of mine on my site had asked me. They were having some experiences and wanted to try to make sense out of it. So it was a private home it was kind of cool to go to. And so, but yeah, I don't know if I would go to like a huge big place on my own necessarily, but it'd be kind of cool to try it out. But yeah, usually I'd probably do more private kind of things.
Homes are different because they're really, it's not like in the open. They're really locked down. They're only situated within that home or on the land. So it's not, it's difficult, but you don't get any outside interference with a home residential, right? So I kind of like my residentials too. I still do my residentials, but I don't have any outside interference, and it's just me and the client, right? Or somebody else with the client. So it's pretty some of the stuff goes on is pretty awesome too.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, interesting. You're picking up on all that.
Do you?
I was gonna say, if you give her a minute, she could probably pick up on more.
Give me a couple hours, I could do it. I could pick your brain. I could pick out what's wrong with you. I could pick out where you need to fix. I could pick up what body parts hurt the most on you. I can pick up.
Oh, she can help you just by looking at the person.
Yeah, well, I need a lot of help. No, I'm just messing with you.
Oh, you
Well,
mean okay.
you know what's weird about work? I work the spirit guides. Yeah. Oh yeah. We have a good time when we when we investigate together like spirit guides. We take it seriously, but we also have moments where we kind of laugh and sing and and kind of sometimes you just when you're up all night. We went to this place he mentioned in Pennsylvania. It's called Crescent. It's this huge jail area. There's so many buildings. You just got tired of walking around. You just start laughing and cracking jokes. But I was at work the other day, and swear I felt his presence on me. Now I don't think I'm psychic or anything like that, but I felt like I turned around. I would have swore there was something behind me because if you know how you feel when somebody's like right behind you,
you could actually feel the
I was shocked that there wasn't something behind me. I was like, what?
Like this, right?
Yeah. I was like, what in the world? So that kind of was strange at work. And then it was weird too, because when I was feeling that, I actually felt kind of like a pressure change in my ears too. So I don't know. It might have been something happening there.
Do you feel a lot? Okay, working in the hospital, I get it because you have a lot of patients who are sick, who are dying, and who will not wake up. And do you feel a lot from them, or is there a mixture of whatever?
You mean, I think sometimes, yeah, you can pick up on the energy. I've had, so my as a hospitalist, what I do is I take care of people in a hospital. I don't do any office stuff, but I take care of basically adult medicine from 18 to the time you pass. The reason why I'm telling you that is I have to do a lot of like comfort care, like where the patients, we decide, either we help them decide or they decide on their own that they just want to be comfortable and just pass. So I'm involved in a lot of those situations. And yeah, it's always interesting to me when people pass. Like sometimes I'll feel things, sometimes I won't. I remember there was one situation where we had a patient and they ended up dying. We actually had to code them and they died. But he had been suffering for a long time. And I felt so bad because basically it was my patient. So when it's your patient, you're in charge of kind of running the code. So you're kind of calling the shots. You have people help you and kind of contribute to it. But basically I felt bad that this guy died, even though it probably was just his time. But anyways, after he had passed away, his wife came in. She was really upset. And I got this amazing sense of peace about me that I guess maybe it was a psychic feeling that it was like, I'm okay, man. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It was like pretty powerful. It was like, hey, it's okay, man. Don't worry about it. And it was like, it just kind of hit me out of nowhere. And so that was kind of an interesting feeling where I was like, why am I thinking that? But if it was like, hey, don't worry, I'm okay. I was tired of being sick,
Usually they come and say, they usually ask for permission to die. A lot of times they won't die without permission, okay? Like if you say it's okay, you're around with everybody who loves you, it's okay, you'll be fine, and don't worry and don't be scared. And a lot of times it works.
Yeah, I hear you. I can believe it. Well, yeah. I do. So I kind of feel out the situation with patients and their families. If it's the right situation, I'll actually kind of bring up my experiences and say, hey, I believe in the afterlife, and I feel like, don't be, I think, there's something beyond this. And I guess what I'm saying is I'm able to kind of bring in my paranormal activities and, and research and all that kind of stuff. I kind of help patients in different situations. I had a lady recently who decided to go comfort care, and we were talking about it. She kind of believed in ghost hunting and stuff too, and afterlife. And I said, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm fairly certain that there's an afterlife. So, I think there's something to look for beyond this. And she had been sick for a long time and all this kind of stuff. So it's nice to be able to kind of bring that in as a doc, because I don't think a lot of docs do. And
no, because they only look at the medical side, not the human side of it, right? The human side is totally different, right? And sometimes you hear doctors that say you can't go near the human side. You can only do your job and that's it.
Yeah. And I tell people too, like what Judah said, I tell them it's okay to say you've had enough. It's okay to say I'm ready to go. Yeah. I think some people do have a hard time with that. Like they don't want to feel like they're giving up or what. I'm like, it's okay. You've fought as much as you can. We've done everything we can. Yeah. It's okay to say I'm done and I just want to go. And
Yeah.
So
What do you think about? Okay, I'm gonna get into the real sticky side. Okay, infants that are born that know they may not survive, uh, do no harm, right?
yeah,
Help the patient, right? It,
yeah.
I think it's the most gut wrenching thing I've ever felt. I had pictures on Facebook sent to me. My daughter needs an operation. She was just born and she's hooked up to all this stuff. She's got stuff hanging all over out of her, and she sees me and she says, "You know, I don't want to do this anymore. I just I hurt. I ache. It bothers me. I just don't want this anymore. I don't want this pain anymore." And I said, "Well, you've got control. You can do whatever you want. You can either live through your heart operation or you just don't have to and say I'm good."
Right.
And I told her that, right? And I was sitting in my house, I was doing this, right? And everyone's looking, "You're weird, mom." Like, but I just had to do it. I just had to tell her that. And this guy, he showed us a picture on Facebook. He said, "My daughter needs a heart operation. She was just born, blah blah blah, so many days ago." And yeah, it's either that she's gonna die. And I put a lock on my mouth. I said, "Okay." And I talked to her only. And the guy comes back. He goes, "My daughter died so many hours ago." I said, "Well, pray for your daughter." Sorry
Yeah.
for your loss. And that's it. That's all I could say. But behind the scenes, yeah, I was hearing her. And she was a baby, like only this big, right? And she was talking to me like I had a real good conversation for her, like
Wow.
she was an adult.
That's pretty
and
cool. Yeah.
and she wasn't
I mean,
going
it's
like,
a sad story, but it's interesting. It's cool that interaction.
and she wasn't
Well,
going gaga at me. She was just telling me like, "I don't want this, you know, I'm done." And I said, "Okay, fine, I'm not going to tell her what to do,
well,
but
when you think about it, I talk about this sometimes on my page, and then when I do some posts, we think about the afterlife as a soul leaves, but when
hmm
you're born, a soul comes in. So
hmm
when that soul comes in, it could be a mature. I mean, it could be a soul that could talk. It just can't. The baby can't talk yet, but the soul which should be able to.
yeah,
If it's a developed soul. So I always kind of talk about like there's the begin. We forget about the beginning of life when the soul
hmm
comes into the body and
hmm
all that kind of stuff. So yes, it would make sense that an infant could have a soul that's able to talk with you. It
and
just it
I
is this. Oh, go ahead. I'm
I
sorry.
do no harm. I understand that. I understand you're a doctor. You're supposed to help the patient. I understand that, but isn't there enough when there's enough?
So I think with infants it's tough because they're I think with older folks it's a little bit easier. Maybe it's never, of course, it's never easy, but
No.
I think with infants it's tough. But yeah, as a doctor you got to be able to say, yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff we can do, but should we really be doing it?
hmm
And that's where you kind of bring in the family and try to figure out their wishes. With an infant it's tough, obviously. But with older folks, you kind of say, well, what was their wishes? Would they want to go through this? What would they want? So yeah, I think more and more that doctors are open to like stopping or and saying enough's enough. There's still certain docs who are going to keep going and going and going just because they feel like that's what they got to do is to try to save lives. But I think with the generations now, I think more and more docs of like my generation and younger are, they're we're advocates for like comfort care and hospice, in the right situations and all that. So, and making sure the patient has the right to decide.
See,
But I remember,
that's still a very controversial thing
yeah,
because even to this day, what's still controversial
yeah,
in America,
yeah,
but still more accepted in other countries for some reason, is back in the 70s, America had Dr. Death, Dr.
yeah,
Jack Kevorkian.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And he's still controversial to this day over there in America, where other countries like Sweden are building death pods now,
I
where
know,
it
right?
was where what he did, in case anyone listening who's not familiar with Dr. Kevorkian or Dr. Death, he was given the nickname. He said it himself. He, he didn't mind the nickname Dr. Death because he's okay with what he did.
hmm
But he was a doctor, obviously. But he kept seeing like the older folks their health was, for whatever reason, their health was going, they just were not going to live comfortably, basically. So
Mhm.
he built a machine. He built two different kind of machines. One you press a button and it releases a chemical for you to kind of naturally pain free pass away, or you press a button and it releases a gas, so you still slowly kind of fall asleep into your death.
Mhm.
Because he was just his whole thing is, if they did not want to suffer, if you had to be terminally ill. You
Yeah.
also had to be you also had to be sound of mind when you went to him too. You can't.
Yeah.
Right, right.
You had to be sound of mind. Everyone was like, "Well, how did he prove that?" I'm like, "I don't know." He had to be stout. You had to be sound of mind. You had to prove that you had a terminal illness where you're probably not going to get over. Your health is going to decrease more and more.
Mhm.
So he gave you a way out now, so you did not have to continue to suffer.
Yeah.
It was controversial because he did not kill anyone. He built a machine allowing people to do it.
Yeah.
Right, right. Yeah, when it comes to the capacity and that stuff, as docs, there's certain questions you ask, and you got to make sure that you kind of have people repeat stuff back. And the easy ones are, do you know where you're at? Do you know the day of the year? All that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
then you like, do you understand? Like, if you if you push the button on you, what do you think is going to happen? And and if they explain, well, I'm going to die, and that's what I want. So you got to like kind of sort through like, you know, can they process what's actually happening?
Yeah,
So
that's
somebody,
actually
yeah,
what he compared it to, was we treat our pets better than our
Yeah.
relatives. Yes, I understand you want grandma to live, but at the
But
same time, like, let's say your dog Fluffy is gonna suffer for the rest of their life, you put them down so they don't have to. Like, you're
yeah.
basically treating Fluffy better than you do your grandma in in that situation.
no,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. Well, I think I got to look. I don't know off the top of my head, but there are some states that are, I think, in the United States where they allow for assisted suicide, or assisted death. I'd have to look it up and see. But
I
I
bet
actually,
yeah,
it's funny.
back then it was still, yeah.
I've actually had some patients come out right and ask me, in the last couple of months, they're like, can you just put me to sleep? And I'm like, well, no, I can't. I said, I can't put you to sleep, but if you decide that you want to be comfortable, we can focus on comfort. I said, we give you medicines like morphine and things like that for comfort, but we don't do it to kill you, So, but
Yeah.
I've had 2 or 3 instances recently. They're like, I just want to be done, doc. I just want to be done. And it's like, well, I can't do that,
Yeah.
And but they hear about the assisted suicide stuff, right? And they're like, well, so and so in this state they can do it, and here they can do it. I'm like, well, Virginia doesn't have that now, and even if they did, I don't know. That'd be tough,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's still controversial to this day
Yeah,
over
yeah.
there, but there's other
But then,
countries still in it like it's nothing. But
but
they
then it
still
is
have the
there is a fine
same
balance
rules.
between it is a
Mhm.
fine balance between making somebody comfortable, like, because you're kind of you're stopping the meds and you're giving them enough pain meds so they're not suffering. You're definitely not. You're trying not to give them enough to make them die or anything, but there is a fine line between you
Mhm.
know trying to keep them comfortable and and how much medicines do you give and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, but it would be hard to say take somebody who's like wide awake
Mhm.
and give them a bunch of morphine. So somebody who's suffering and they're right at the end, and that's a little different. But you could probably it could be a good argument about
Yeah.
Mhm.
there's like
You
a
know.
line, there's a fine line.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Getting back to children again. Um. Uh, I remember when I got pregnant the first time. I don't really talk about this, okay? Because it's a really sticky situation. I got pregnant once, okay? I lost it. I wanted so bad to be a mother. I forgot everything. It went right out the window. And I'm glad that nature took care of it, because I don't think it would be a very good pregnancy. But being a mom, you forget everything. You just like your mind just goes. I don't know. You don't think about how bad it would be in the end if it was viable. But yeah, I understand that when you had an infant, it was born, it was trouble, but it's not gonna last, right? And
right.
it's I went through that 4 times, okay?
Oh wow.
And
Wow.
yeah, but I wound up with 3 children afterwards.
Oh, I was going to ask you if you ended up having. Well, good, good.
Yeah, they're all split up in different years, but yeah, I mean, but it was tough. It was psychologically tough, but I think it would have been even tougher if the child did get born. And well, guess what? It's not going to live that long, right? I said, I I said, thank God you took care of it for me. Thank God nature helped. But yeah, there is a time when maybe it's best not to. You have your decision. You have your decision. Like, what do I do? What do I do? I want to be a mom so bad. It was my first. It was my first pregnancy. But yeah, stuff happens, and there's a reason why it happens. And that never give up. Always try again.
No, it's true. It's true.
And
Yeah.
it's the most hardest decision to do. But I think my husband and I, we went through it. We talked about it. And the only thing you do is talk, right? And yeah, if it's not viable, well, let nature take its course, because there's a reason why it's not viable.
No, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
And I know moms, I know me as a mom, I know so bad I wanted this child so bad. I would do anything to make it, let it live. And I thought, hold on a second, I'm being stupid, right? And I thought, yeah, you got idiot written on the forehead, right? But yeah, I just, I thought about it. I said, boy, was I ever an idiot. Like, I was hospitalized so many times, and I had to get IVs and junk pumped into me. I said, this is not really worth it.
No,
But,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was only 3 months, and I don't know why every 3 months, like, stuff would happen. Like, okay, this is not good, right?
Yeah.
Something's gone wrong here. And there's a reason why that happens, right? And
Yeah.
be careful what you wish for sometimes.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, it's a tough decision to decide to have a baby that's not going to live very long, and it's a tough decision to stop a pregnancy too. And
Yeah.
but I think you get it's I'm trying to think of the word for it. I think it's good to think about the whole picture, because it is able to get it's easy to get wrapped up into the emotions of it and say, I just want to have this baby, and but to really think it out and think, well, this is going to be really difficult, and and stuff like that, and decide it's better not to go through that. It's almost the same thing of, I think, when you're thinking about being comfort care at the end, it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
do you want to have a baby that's not going to survive and have a lot of trauma versus stop it sooner? It's a tough decision, for sure.
Yeah.
And
And being a parent, I understand the parents' thinking. But if you step away from that and look outside the box,
yeah,
there's a lot that's going on that maybe you should really listen to, look at that, what's laying there, and see how horrifying it looks as a parent. And like,
yeah,
I mean, as a parent, it's horrifying as it is finding that your baby's not going to live very long. But yeah, it is horrifying, no matter which side you look at it, right? I get that
right,
too.
right, yeah. Well, I know with adults and stuff, we always talk about quality of life versus quantity of life and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Decide what kind of quality you're going to have versus in quantity and stuff like that. So yeah, of course, it's hard with a baby and pregnancy and stuff. But sometimes you got to do look at what kind of situation is it going to be if they're born versus not born. And
Yeah, I think in Japan, I think we have a lot of. It's totally different here. Okay, you get first 3 months. The doctor really looks at you and really looks at the fetus and really checks it out and makes sure that it's going to be a viable pregnancy or not viable pregnancy, and then he gives you a choice. And it's like it's a free country for women. Okay, women do have a choice. They don't need their husband's approval for anything. It's more like for what we need as a woman, and it's more open between the obstetrician and the mother or the woman than you'll find in the United States, what they're fighting for right now. So I don't, I still am glad I'm still glad I had my children born here. I'm still glad they were taken care of better here. I just you know, it's just hard for other women to believe, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And plus, you know, you're in the hospital for 10 days, whether you had um, a natural childbirth or a C-section. Like
Oh, wow.
you're in for 10 days. Yeah,
Is that your cat? I hear a cat.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
my.
her cat.
It,
I was looking, I'm like, is that at my place? What the?
yeah,
No, that's her cat. You'll hear the cat. If you don't see the cat, you'll hear the cat.
yeah.
Yeah,
10 days is a long time to be stuck in the hospital, but yeah,
it
you get
is. Yeah, United States, you're like it's like a couple days, you're out. If
no
everything, if
here.
you got to, if the pregnancy was or the childbirth was okay, they don't
Yeah,
keep you in too long, maybe 2-3 days.
here you get massages, you get a treatment, you get a spa
Yeah,
treatment,
yes,
you
you
get
also get a
food,
facial, from what I heard.
you get food, 3,500 calories after birth.
Oh wow,
So there's less part of postpartum depression because you're not tired. You
that's a good
get
point. Yeah,
you
yeah.
get fed better, and 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 the infant is,
However, from what I'm told, there is no epidural.
yeah, and yeah, it's just totally different here. And I think women are treated like queens when they have babies because you are put into women's hospital, and they only treat women, and they have
Oh wow.
big. They have the one that I went to had uh, a military university hospital OB doctors. They're both surgeons and they're obstetricians, and they can do operations, and they can do whatever is necessary. And then they take care of the mother, and they take care of the patient as well, the child as well. And they
That's,
have
yeah.
pediatricians on board all day and all night, so
Wow.
it's 24 hours. Yeah. And the military hospital, Japanese military hospital, had the best OB surgeons and OB doctors, so they did that too. It's one of the biggest hospitals, but it's a little bit expensive. You have to pay through the nose up front to reserve a bed. But I mean, afterwards, if anything happens, your insurance kicks in, and the child's 100% covered by the husband's insurance.
Oh
So
wow. Okay.
yeah, and it's like a luxurious hotel where the woman is all by herself in her own room. She has a bed, she has a sofa, she has a coffee maker. She's got everything else that she needs,
Yeah,
right?
that's nice. Yeah.
And I think times have changed. I think that if you have a baby, I think women should be treated a little bit better, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
and less problems for the infant. Like if they go home and they get jaundice, they have to go back to the hospital again. Well, here you're in the hospital for 10 days, and if there's something wrong with the baby, it's treated right there, right now. So,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. No
and
doubt.
I think different culture, different ways of doing things, but it would be nice if mothers in America would have the same treatment for their children.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. 'Cause, yeah, you do kind of get it out of the hospital pretty quick, and sometimes it would be nice to have more support
Mm.
and all that. So yeah.
And especially you got cut open, your son, you can't walk, you go, well, bye. You go, right.
Yeah. Nah, it's not cool. Yeah.
And here they only cut, if they have a C-section, they only cut this much.
Oh wow.
Only as much for the head come up, and that's it.
Yeah, I think they're doing it smaller here, though. Although it's been a long time since I've seen a C-section. Um, but yeah, what's the health insurance like over there? Is it similar to how it is in the United States, or is it different?
My husband works for an American company. So in Japan, you have to have, in order to open up a company in Japan, you have to have health insurance. You're supposed to have it. It's law. So my husband pays half, and the company pays half.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, you're supposed, and it covers dental, medical, and medicine.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, but and my when I go and see a doctor, I only pay $4.10 anyway. So
Wow.
because the place where I live is in Nerima, and Nerima is in Tokyo, and the city kind of like backs up the hospital, so they take most of the cost from the hospital, and and you only pay what, $4, and you
That's
can't buy
nice. That's
coffee.
pretty good. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't can't buy a coffee for $4 at Starbucks, right? So yeah, $4 is
Yeah.
cheap,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's with insurance. So it's a little bit different here. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit nicer here, actually, to tell you the truth. That's why when they ask me, would you want to go back to where you were born? I go, nope. Yeah, I think I'll stay here.
Yeah. Really. That's pretty good, man.
Um,
So you were
has
asked, have you ever been to the UK?
Me? No, I haven't been to the UK. No. Eventually, maybe. Have you guys been there?
mm-mm,
No, it is on my list of places I want to go, especially because just like Japan, there's a lot of it's older, there's a lot of
mhm.
history there. Because there's one thing I tell people is ghosts here are definitely different than the ones in the United States. Like they're strong. They just feel stronger here.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
They feel stronger here, and they seem to like they have no problem being, especially seen as a shadow form. They have no problem being.
On her side, they don't care if you're there or not. They'll say, "Hey, look at me, I'm dead." Ha ha ha. That's what they'll do on her side, and from my side, they look at you like this. But on her side, like they don't give a hoot if you know if you see them or not, because her
What do you
side
think
has,
makes them? What do you think makes them stronger over there? Is it just because of the history, or
well,
what do you think makes them different in Japan?
she lives in Nagasaki. Okay, you have the atomic bomb,
Both the Nagasaki and Hiroshima is not too far from me.
not too away from Hiroshima, and the in Nagasaki you have the people who are Christians who are crucified alive to their death because they practice Catholicism.
Wow, holy cow!
So you got a lot of energy from them. They died before their time of death. So you get a lot of mixed energy and really sad, really um like I wasn't supposed to die now. This happened to me. Not what the heck do I do? That's the kind of people that
That makes sense. No, yeah, when you have a bunch of sudden death like that, yeah,
that's what
yeah.
happened on her side. My side is more suicide, like jumping in front of trains and stuff like that. It's and jumping in front of uh bullet trains. Yeah, I'm saying because it is yeah, you get a lot of that too on this side, on my side, and it's my side. It's more gruesome than on her side. And my side, you don't really want to get involved with them. You don't want to listen to them. You don't talk to them because they'll try and tell you, "Hey, why don't you come and see it? Why don't you come and keep me company? And I'll
Oh,
tell you how you can kill yourself."
wow.
So
I think I've heard some stories about that from Japan. Yeah.
the train station, when we just went to a rock showing where I can get crystals, and the train was late because somebody jumped in front of a train, so they were behind 30 minutes. I go,
Holy cow.
okay, another usual thing happening. Okay, we're gonna wait. And they go, yeah. And I said, thank God it's not on this stupid train. He goes, yeah, thank
That is
God.
crazy. And don't you guys have that haunted, like, isn't it like a haunted woods, a famous haunted
Yeah,
Haunted
woods?
Forest, yes.
forest.
Is that real? Is that the real deal kind of thing? Have you guys been there? Or
We're going in the fall. I'm
oh
taking
wow,
I'm taking her.
I
Yeah,
mean,
Suicide Forest is right under Mount Fuji. Yeah,
yeah,
right under Mount Fuji, where it Mount Fuji is a active volcano, right, Irene?
Yeah, it's the volcano's haunted too. They have 5 creepy lakes that are natural. They're creepy and they're dark. They're just bleh, they're black and it rains there and it just ugh, you can hear you can hear you can hear anything that you can hear a pin drop, and you don't hear the birds cry with creation. You don't hear any bugs. It's just black. Like
wow,
it's like the scene from a haunted movie, right?
yeah, yeah.
And it's gross. I've been there. So, okay, I'm done. Let's get back in the car. Let's go someplace else. Like, oh man. And the suicide forest is really creepy too because there's no bird activity, there's no insect activity, there's no snake activity either.
Wow, that is weird.
And the trees look really twisted and like irregular and just not
Even
normal.
scientists can't explain why these trees are growing little in angles. There's just, it looks like they're like growing into pretzels, and scientists are like, I'm not even sure why. It's just not, they're not growing straight.
Yeah, that is weird. Wow. You guys have to do like a show when you guys get back from there and talk about what happened.
I think we're going to do a podcast from there, right?
If we have connection, yeah.
Yeah.
We'd also have to be careful not to see any bodies, though.
The people who do that, people have this really weird idea about suicide forest. The reason why people are drawn to go there is because they had so much pain in their life. They can't handle, either they lost their job or their family has all died and there's nothing left.
Wow.
And they lost their funds, their money, or anything else like that. They're broke completely after COVID too. That happened too. And they just don't feel the energy to live anymore. So they go out and they end their pain and sorrow. And in this country, because it's a Buddhist country, you're allowed to end your pain and sorrow and begin a new life.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
As being reincarnated into a different person and have a better life than you had last time.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah. Because I guess, we all think about it from like a Christian standpoint.
Yeah. There are Christians here, but they're more on where Amanda lives than where I live. So it's you're not allowed to feel sorry. You're not allowed to feel subjected to pain anymore. So if you're hurting here and in here, you're allowed to stop this pain in here and here.
Wow.
And yeah, it's a really hard situation to talk about. It's a hard subject, right? Yeah. And not I don't agree with that. I think everyone should live the fullest. I said, if you can't live the fullest, if you don't find anything that's worthwhile living for, what is there for that person, right? And they said, well, I think that way. Well, put their body in their shoes and think about how they feel. They said, well, I can't think about that. Well, this is what they feel. This is what they think. And what do I do, right? And they can't handle it anymore. So they're allowed to end their pain and suffering, mentally and physically.
Wow. Wow.
It's heavy. I know it's really hard to comprehend. But yeah, it's just something that people don't think about. But you think about it, but you really don't do it in here and here, right? So
yeah. Well, and you wonder why they took that forest. Like, what about that area? I wonder would make you want to do suicide.
I think there's a portal there or something that attracts it. Because the funny thing is, not the whole forest is like that. I have seen videos of the locals who live near the woods hike a certain part of it almost daily, because there's a part of that forest that's the exact opposite, where it's peaceful, it's friendly, it's beautiful. You feel at peace and at ease walking it, and they know you don't go down that path. You don't pass this tree that's going into in the area you don't want to go in. Yeah. So that's why I tell people it's not the full forest that's like that, which is interesting. It's part of it, yes.
It's just
but not the whole.
I don't think I've never been there, but I have a feeling that it's just a small part of that mountain.
Yeah, because I've seen videos of people have taken videos saying this is the other not so bad part of the forest. That's why I tell people I've seen the videos. They actually be like, yeah, I'm here in the forest. See how beautiful it is over here.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But when my mom was alive, she'd tell me stories that scientists have climbed the mountain to measure the radiation and the lava in the live volcano, right? Mount
Yeah.
Fuji's volcano. So they go down there and they measure whatever they have. And they measure seismic activity in the volcano too. And a lot of them have died doing that, climbing up or going down the mountain. They have died also. They have plunged to their death. So guess what? It's a haunted volcano, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I bet.
But nobody really talks about it. You only learn from the elders, like what I'm telling you right now, because even anything haunted, you only learn from the elders. Nobody young knows about it. Nobody young would ever even ask. But if you ask certain old people who are around 70 or 80 years old, you sit down there, oh yeah, this is that and that and that and that. And they'll tell you all kinds of stories. Okay, let me take notes. It's just
The graves
different.
on the cliff, Irene, or do you know?
Mm-hmm. What?
Is it one area of the mountain have graves on the cliff?
Yeah. And sometimes they can't carry the body down the mountain, so they'll bury it
The garage. Let's go to the garage. Yeah.
on the mountain.
My girls are going outside.
Fun. So yeah, they'll bury the bodies and they'll put kind of like not a headstone, but a wooden thing, and they'll put their name on it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different, but going up to that area, it's just kind of like in the middle. It's in Mount Fuji's in the center of Japan. Okay, on my island. Okay, going up to there, you got all these haunted places that are leading up to that mountain.
Interesting. Yeah. Wow.
You got the hot springs, you got the suicide waterfall, you got the graves of the shogun who died. You got all these. Yeah, you also got a grave of a samurai who was beheaded or killed or committed suicide, and head is buried in underground. You got that. It's just like one road leading all the way up to the suicide forest. Like you just one path straight ahead.
My friend Donnie Parker, he's commenting. He goes, "We should come out. We should come there and check it out."
Okay, you can come and see with me. We'll all check it out together. I'll take you.
The suicide waterfall she's referring to is after the war ended and Japan lost. People were afraid that the United States was going to come over and take over Japan. So before it happened, they just decided to walk up this cliff on this waterfall and just jump to their death.
No way. How many folks did that? Was it a lot?
A lot. And
Wow.
a lot of older people did that too because they didn't want to be ruled by America.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never heard that before. Wow.
No,
So is that thought to be haunted too then with the waterfall, or
you can
Because
go.
they said if you can take a photo and see like the soul still walking up.
Yeah.
Oh really? Wow.
Yeah.
Even I have in my library, my iCloud library, like the pictures are on Google. Okay, you can put them in your camera, blow them, and go, oh my god, and you say, yeah. You can see all these people climbing up and just walking in the waterfall,
Wow.
and you
That's pretty
don't really feel it or see it when you look at it. If you take a still photograph, it really shows up, and it's residual energy, right? Of course, but yeah, you could really see it, and it's just unbelievable. And kids who go on the spring vacation because they're they're in grade 6 and they're going to say goodbye to everybody since the last vacation, they go to that waterfall and take group pictures. They go, and my kids go, I don't want to do this, right? Because my kids are really touchy-feely too. They said, I don't like this. And my kids were making a really weird face. I said, why are you making this really weird face in this photograph? He goes, because I don't like what I'm seeing behind me. I said, okay, I know. When I looked, I took a picture of what they were doing, what behind on the waterfall, and then I drew this old lady there, right? Yeah.
Holy cow.
And he said, no, I don't want to stand in front of this waterfall. And she says, it's not haunted. She just saying, okay, yeah, okay.
Wow.
All the grade 6 children go there. That's a last 3-day vacation, and they go to the mountains. They go take a barbecue. They go sightseeing and have a barbecue together, stuff like that. It's just one of those places that, yeah. And I said, Amanda, we should go. Like, because you're an American. And she said, I wonder how they feel and react differently because I am that.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
That's what I told
kind
her. I'm like, do I want to walk up this mountain? No. I don't trust someone's not going to try and push me.
yeah. Hey, so
But
do you think the ghosts there, are they more like, or spirits, are they more like physical, like they'll move stuff and touch you and stuff like that, or?
you're on a bridge, okay? You can't go anywhere near that waterfall because you know who's going to be next, who's going to jump off of it, right? They can't guarantee it, so they put a huge net. You can walk across the bridge and stand on the bridge, but even if you stand on the bridge and take a still picture, you can see everything.
Oh wow.
It's the most standing. It stands out like this in front of your face.
It reminds me of, we got Gettysburg here as a
Mhm.
Civil War battlefield, and a
Mhm.
lot of folks will catch, different parts of the battlefield. They'll actually see soldiers. There's a couple videos that I think are on YouTube or something. You actually supposedly see soldiers walking up through the woods. They
Yeah.
when you're talking about that waterfall and seeing all those potential spirits, it makes me think about Gettysburg.
Yeah.
They see all kinds of stuff, and
just seeing that people who really died before their time, right?
yeah.
Some didn't want to do it, some did want to do it. It's just one of those things that happens. It's part of history, right?
Yeah.
But nobody knows. Nobody knows. Like, even the young people these days, they don't know about that waterfall. I know.
Well, it's interesting because it seems to be consistent. Like, here, either here or there with you guys, places where there's been like a lot of trauma or early death tend to be more active. Like here in the States, like the Civil War battlefields and
Yeah.
old hospitals, or places where there was a lot of like, human energy and trauma
Mhm.
tend to have more spiritually active. So it's kind of
Mhm.
interesting. Something about that. It kind of imprints on the
Yeah. It
on the environment.
it stays there, right? And then there's other places here that have been developed because of land taxes. They just changed it, and there's a lot of places with historical things where it's a lot of bloodshed that it's haunted, right? Because they built on top of it, right? And you go,
I
okay.
know I see some videos from Japan where they have like the spirit, like actually it's like a spirit kind of walking across the road. And it's a good catch. It's like on a security camera. You're like
Yeah.
holy cow. So yeah, it is interesting.
They're less shy here, I swear.
Yeah.
They have
And
no problem being
too,
seen.
hospitals too. Oh wow, there are tons of hospitals that are abandoned now. I've seen a couple of them on TikTok that people have walked through them. They're explorers, but they're Japanese haunted explorers. And man, are they ever haunted? Like, they don't really have a morgue here, but people pick the people, the families are supposed to pick up the 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 dead relative as soon as they died. And they don't put them in refrigerators or nothing like that. But man, are they ever haunted? Like, you wouldn't believe. The wards are haunted. The the um the uh the operating rooms are haunted. Like, it's just unbelievable. It's just loaded, right? And they block them off so you can't get in there. But I mean, yeah, you can get in there, right? If anybody's determined, they'll get in there, right? But man, there are so many haunted hospitals in Japan, like, you wouldn't believe it. I bet you the one that I go to when I get my lungs checked out every once a month, I bet you that's haunted too, because the basement is where the outpatients go to get chemotherapy, right?
Yeah.
And I went down there. I went down. I got my breathing exercise. Man, I ran out of there. I ran back in the elevator, and I just went, not doing this. Went right upstairs. I said, "This man says, you saw you look like you saw a ghost. Don't ask." And get me a cup of coffee. I sat there, drank my coffee. He said, "Where were you?" I said, "Getting my breathing exercises, okay? He goes, oh yeah, the doctor asked for that. I go, yeah, don't ask what happened. He goes, okay, I won't. But yeah,
Yeah, there's something about hospitals for sure, man.
oh yeah,
Either operating ones or closed ones that seem to be
yeah.
pretty active.
The funny thing is that the outpatient for chemotherapy is in the basement, right? And yeah, you know what basements are for, right? You know, but they store everything in the basement, right? Yeah, yeah, the basement. Do I have to go here? I asked him, do I have to do this today? He goes, you have to. I go, I was cussing out right there. As soon as the elevator door opened, I look left, I go right, and I go, they have this beautiful light yellow and orange color paint on the walls. I go, I looked, I said, nah, I don't want to do this. But I did it. I said, okay, you can do this, right? You're a paranormal investigator. You're a clairvoyant. You can do this. But just turn off the clairvoyant portion of you and just do what you have to do and get the heck upstairs. Yeah, it was the most worst feeling I ever had in my whole life. I didn't want to do it. I said to my doctor, I'm not going there anymore. He goes, why? Because it's in the basement. He goes, I know, but he said, you have to do it. You have to do it every 6 months. I said, like hell I do. He just laughed at me. I said, you would be laughing if you felt what I felt. He goes, okay, I won't.
I know. But I got a lot of friends that are sensitive. It's like, either, really psychic or just sensitive, and they have a hard time going to hospitals because they pick up on all that.
Yeah. I'm just saying, yeah, not doing that.
Donnie Parker, he's mentioning about, we went to a place in New York. It was called Wildwood. It was a sanitarium.
I heard about that.
Yeah. And they had stuff they still had some stuff in the basement, like an operating table or an old bathtub. And I got in the bathtub. We were trying to do investigating and stuff in there. So, but yeah, it was an old, two docs that got it and converted from a house into like a healthcare place.
Mm-hmm. Do you think? Okay, I'm gonna go a different route on this question. Okay, do you think a lot of people were hospitalized in the mental institutions because they were sensitives?
That's a good question. I've had people I had that come up before. That, well, two sides of that coin. Some theories are that if you have sometimes if you have mental illness, you might be more sensitive to paranormal. The flip side is that spirits maybe can pick up on the fact that you have mental illness, and they can taunt you more. But yeah, I think sometimes it's hard to sort out. Does somebody really have like schizophrenia and they're having paranoid delusions, or are they actually seeing something, that we're not seeing? So yeah, it's hard to sort out, especially being a doc who does this stuff now. I wonder, I'm like, maybe they're really seeing something in some, some circumstances.
And there's no way to measure it, and there's no way to test.
Yeah.
And it's apparently you can have an MRI and you can put yourself in a certain state of mind where your brain activity changes if you're sensitive, right?
Yeah. They did a small study. I think it was like 10, 12 people where they looked at their brains, psychic mediums, and supposedly their brains look different on the MRI or, on the different on the scans versus somebody who's not psychic. So there seems to be something about it. But yeah, it's a good question. If people are actually seeing things, paranormal things versus having, mental illness. So.
Because I cannot say exactly what I do. I don't. There's only one doctor that knows, and there's another one who kind of he kind of knows. But yeah, I just don't come up and say, hey, I'm a clairvoyant. I can see dead people, and I can talk to dead people. And they'll probably look at, yeah, you need to go to the loony bin. I go,
yeah, some doctors still think that, but no, yeah.
Percent of Japan is haunted. Okay, Amanda will agree with this. Okay, and where I live in Tokyo, it's like, forget it. You go outside, it's haunted. Okay, I mean, where she goes to us, it's haunted too. Like you don't have to go far to see anything haunted. Okay, you just go out your front door. There it is, right there. There it is, right there too. For both of us, and it's It may look like, oh, it's beautiful. It's got cherry blossoms and stuff like that, like the picture that she has on her background. But behind the scenes, it's really freaky.
Sounds like it. It'd be interesting to check it out.
It's really freaky. You got to watch where you're going. You can't go almost anywhere you want to go because, nah. I said, nah, you don't want to go there. Okay, like, let's not do that. Let's not go there. Let's not do this. Not do that. You go, boy, that's a lot. Let's not. And they go, there's a reason why. I want to keep you safe. I want to keep you alive so you can see tomorrow, right? And they go, yeah. But I mean, it's just one of those things that you live in a really haunted country with a lot of weird history, old history that's really
Lots of history. Yeah.
good and bad, and stuff that you want to talk about. You don't want to talk about either. I know that too. But yeah, there's just so much of it. Like, do I want to get into this? Do I not want to get into that? You know what I mean? It's just really.
I saw a lot of interesting stories. I don't know if you guys watch that show, Ancient Aliens. They had a lot of stuff about Japan. Like the old emperors might have had contact with UFOs and stuff. And
yeah. When we have an earthquake, we get UFOs all the time here now, and it's just
really
natural. Everyone says, "Oh, look at the sky! Oh, look at that! Yeah. Look at that!" And you go, everyone's doing that, right? It's
interesting.
just,
it kind of goes with the theory here that maybe the UFOs are actually still like underwater here, because as Irene says, the worse the earthquake is, you look in the sky, that's when the more UFO activity happens in Japan.
Yeah. Oh. Nobody looks down. Everyone looks up at the sky now.
Yeah.
Wow. Have you guys seen UFOs yourself? You too? Or?
No. And they're mostly in the worst areas. And thank God I haven't lived in that area yet. But yeah, they're in the areas where we have nuclear power. They're really in that area. They just hover right there, because they know where the power plants are. And so the reason why we have nuclear power plants is because we have typhoons, hurricanes, and stuff like that. In fact, there's one coming up now. There, man, is going. Oh hell no! I go, yep. We're getting another typhoon pretty soon.
Oh, holy cow! Hey, how did you two meet?
Social media.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I joined her group.
I was looking for, because I was excited. I'm like, I'm gonna get paranormal here, and then I was like, why can't you do the paranormal here?
Yeah.
Like you can't book investigations here. You can't go investigate places because they just block it off to the public mostly.
Wow.
Like haunted houses are abandoned and they're blocked off and locked away to the public. So you can't go in there if you really wanted to.
Wow. Holy cow.
But there are ways of getting in there.
I'm sure there is.
Make friends with the police department. You get into there anyway. You bring them gift of steam buns or whatever. Here you go. Can we go there?
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. Amanda, what made you move to Japan?
Husband's in the military, so we live at one of the Navy bases down here.
Ah, very cool. Very cool.
So she's locked away so far away from me. I go, Amanda, we gotta get together one of these days. We're not that far away by air. Like it's an hour and a half by air, but yeah, just getting there is a real pain in the butt.
No, I hear you.
So she lives where my husband was born, in that same island. So he knows all the haunted areas in the island, right? So cool. We should go there. I go, okay. We have to book off another vacation to go visit Amanda.
Yeah, check out the spots.
Yeah.
There is that theory spirits guide where I mean there's even ancient Egyptians, I guess, people have found like paintings that they made of aliens. You can't really explain it.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of crazy different things here that happen. And they're saying aliens created the religion that I practice. It's not a religion, okay? Whatever it is, whatever you call it. Anyways, it's a higher form of Buddhism. And it was created by the aliens in space.
Oh, wow. It is interesting to think. I don't know how I feel about it, but when you watch the Ancient Aliens and
yeah, Yep.
It's interesting. And then I was watching the other night about the megalith, like all these like the
Yep.
the walls and the buildings they built like back like before, like in the Americas and in
Yep.
in Europe. It's like didn't even know of each other, but they were building the same type of structures with these huge rocks that are precisely cut. You're kind of like, how it is kind of interesting thing. How did people way back then do that, and how do they build things so similar, but they didn't know of each other? It's very interesting to think about.
But the temple that I go to looks like a step pyramid. You walk the stairs. There, I think it's nearly 100 so many stairs all the way up to the top. And the top is the temple. It's made out of huge logs of wood, like this big. How did they put all those logs together on the temple, right? How did they create that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty amazing.
And on the other side, there's a drop off to the ocean, right, the Pacific Ocean. And they have a huge monument of a Buddhist sitting on the ocean. She's like this. She's watching over the ocean. How that was created, right? They don't tell you.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to think about. It's for sure.
And I might send you a picture of that too, because I'll let you take a look at it, and you go like this. I'm going, how did they do that, right? And I asked my mom, and my mom said, your ancestors created this temple. I go, how did it happen? She goes, I don't know. I go, yeah, the same answer I'm gonna say. Yeah. How do you know? I'm like, Mom, you got it. There's something that we're not learning about. They're not telling us. He goes, yeah, there's something they're not telling us for sure. Like we don't know.
Yeah,
it's just totally different. And you find pyramids all over Japan too, and you find there's a place where I think my mother's ancestors are. They have it's in a little island. It looks like a key, and all the royal ancestors are buried in that island, but nobody's allowed to go there.
Oh wow, that's interesting. Yeah,
and Irene can tell you that there's a theory that aliens taught them back then to make the katana.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Those Japanese swords. They taught them how to make the swords, and another part is that we have new medical techniques that are coming out. Let's say if you have cancer in your intestines, right? So they take out your intestines and they put in man-made intestines in your body. You can get a man-made ear that's grown in a petri dish. You can have man-made intestines. They're working on a heart now in Japan.
They have man-made intestines in Japan?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know
that. You can't, there's no such thing as organ donations over here.
Yeah.
You can't
get a segment removed, you can get a new one put in.
Wow.
You see, and they're not sharing it with the rest of the Western world. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. It's just totally different when you get on the airplane, you get off at the airport. The feeling is just totally different.
Yeah, I always wanted to go. Maybe someday I'll get out that way.
Yeah.
Be cool to check it out.
Give me a call. I'll pick you up at the airport.
All right, I will. Hey, Irene, I'm here.
Right here. So, yeah, I can hear.
Go see some ghosts.
I hear the airport.
Oh, you definitely would here.
Yeah.
They're not shy here.
No. I mean,
because like Irene, like we were saying earlier, what are you gonna do about it? Yeah, I'm here. What are you gonna do now?
Yeah. Wow. But we try to document, what we see. If we take pictures, and she'll come to me. She goes, "Hey, I just saw something." I go, "Okay, Amanda, calm down. What'd you see? Take a picture."
Wow. Can you buy ghost equipment in Japan or have it shipped in, or you're not allowed to do it? Or
I can buy it from Amazon, but I'm having my friend buy it for me and send it to me because it's cheaper.
Okay.
I usually spirits here don't like equipment, okay? I tried that, okay? I even tried with two little stupid cat balls. They said, we don't want that in our space. Get rid of it. I go, okay.
The spirit said that?
Yeah.
She's also clairvoyant, so it doesn't make sense for them to use the
Right.
cat ball when we can just talk to her. It'd be like the equivalent of us talking, but us also telling you, pressing that cat ball at the same time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Like,
that's a good
Cat
point.
ball on the
But we're going
ground.
to ask you yes, no questions. Yes, you can answer, but we also expect you to tap the ball.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
They said, get rid of those things. I go, okay. And then my husband was watching me. He goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm putting them away. Why? Because they don't like them. He goes, okay.
Yeah.
It's just strange. And some places are really strong. You can carry all the crystals you want. I had obsidian. I had my pink crystal. I had my tiger. I had tons of crystals in my bag. Right. They still came after me. I go, this ain't working.
I was going to ask you, what do the spirits think about the crystals? I wonder if they even.
Oh, they don't give a hoot.
I was going to say, I wonder if it's just a bunch of mumbo jumbo.
Yeah, they don't. Like, I was packing in my bag, right? I had it in my handbag, and it was on me. And they said, they looked at me. They looked at my bag. Said, yeah, we don't give a hoot. And I go, yeah, I know. Okay, we're gonna do this the other way. Okay, we'll do this way, the way you want it.
Yeah, I wondered because a lot of people here will use crystals to protect themselves on investigations.
Yep.
I've never been a huge fan of that. I guess it probably doesn't hurt either way, but yeah, a lot of people use the crystals to kind of fend off things. But I've always been skeptical on that.
I mean, if it makes you braver, so it's kind of like placebo effect. It makes you braver.
Yeah,
so
great. It's a great point.
It's less fear for them to use against you.
I think mostly what they use here instead of crystals, they use a lot of jade.
Jade.
You're in Asia, okay? Jade is very important because it wards off evil. You get a better life. It prolongs your life, and you don't feel sick anymore. You don't. If you're sick, you use jade to help your healing.
Oh, really?
Of your illness. So it's more like a safety stone. That's what we have. I think Asia, they dig out a lot of jade all over Asia, right? From Tibet to China to everywhere. Even in Japan, they have jade too. And Japan seaside.
What about, do you guys, do they do sage, burn sage, or do they do any of that kind of stuff or no?
Not sage, but you could go to like the Buddhist temple and they have their own special kind of incense that they cleanse you with.
Yeah.
What's it called?
I don't use it very often because my kids say, that stinks. And apparently, toward what my son said, you have to be careful when you use incense because you attract and you make them come to you.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So he says better off not to, unless somebody died, then you can use incense, he said.
Yeah, over here we use there's a lot of sage, and sometimes it's like I think it's white sage, just a specific kind of sage. Sea salt, we use that, holy water.
Yeah.
Sea salt.
Those kind of things, yeah.
And Palo Santo is another one that you could use.
Yeah, I think somebody mentioned that in one of the comments.
Yeah, Palo Santo.
Yeah,
but they do have a special kind of, the monks make it. It's not any Palo Santo or anything like that, but the monks make their own little incense. To me, I don't think they have a smell personally, because I've walked to a Buddhist temple and they, of course, make you cleanse yourself with the smoke from up before you're allowed to go inside.
Yeah, and wash your hands too, because you're supposed to wash the dirt out of your hands.
Yeah, but they also make you do the whole smoke thing where you go, put the smoke over you. You put it down into their little ash thing, and then
put it to your head. If you get a sore throat, you put it to your throat. If you get sore legs, you put it to your legs. If you have problems with inside of your body, you put the smoke to inside of your body. That's what you do. It's just a way of helping you cleanse whatever you have.
That makes sense.
Yeah. What is your bucket list?
My bucket list?
Why not?
It's, you mean as far as like ghost hunting and all that?
Yeah.
I mean, there's some places here in the States I haven't got to go to, like Waverly Hills, and there's Sanitarium, and there's Penhurst in Pennsylvania. And then probably go out west too, check out some, places out west in the United States, some of the ghost towns out there. It'd be cool to come to Japan and go to other, like Europe, and and just check it out. Even if you couldn't ghost hunt, just get a sense of the feel.
Yeah.
England, Europe, Asia, and Asia countries, that kind of thing.
You see, everything in this country is surrounds about paranormal, but they don't want to know, right? Right, Amanda?
That's what I tell people. It's funny because in Japan, a lot of their cultures and traditions move around the dead. However, when it comes to the paranormal, they ignore it. I was like, I swear, I feel like if they saw a ghost there, what they would do is just ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, well, that would be the perfect place to, if you die, you become a ghost. That'd be the perfect place to go because you could just walk around and no one would care or do anything. Like, exactly.
That's funny, yeah.
Or and when in July or August you get fed, you get all this. People put up huge meal.
They don't really celebrate Halloween here, but as what she's saying is there's the day of the dead here in Japan, where at midnight they go out and clean the family grave. And I say family grave because in Japan, we obviously in Japan there is cemeteries, but unlike America, where you get your individual resting place in stone, you have a family one.
Oh, really?
Because there's obviously a land issue over here, so there'll be a family grave, and they cremate you down to the bones. They put the bones into a ceramic pot, and they put the ceramic pot into the grave.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So your last name will be on the front of it. The family last name will be in the front. Then on the back, list everyone who's basically ashes and bones are in there with the dates of
when they were born and when they died.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Now, is that an above ground or is that something underground? Or
it's all above ground. And guess what?
Above
it's really
cool. Yeah.
It's super haunted. And
so at midnight they clean the family grave and they share a meal with the ancestors.
Oh, and that's in August, July, August, or
it's July for in Tokyo.
And August where she is.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah.
Well,
I guess it's kind of like they had the Day of the Dead for like Mexico and Latin.
Yeah,
America.
It's different. That's what
in
it
October.
Is here. They just go and use it to
clean
the grave.
It's the most creepiest month. My oldest son said, I hate this day. I said, yeah, I know you hate this day, but at least say happy birthday to your mother because your mother was born on the same day as that day. He goes, I said, yeah, right. And I said, how do you think I feel, right? Like, not do this. Not do this. No. Like,
I wonder why did they pick July and August for those times? Is it something significant as far as the spirit kind of thing? Or?
It's been a long time tradition, right? We're in the country, it's August the 24th, 25th, 26th, and 27th. Like, it's a 1 week celebration. And they have dancing. They have dancing in the streets. They have street food vendors come up. You could buy whatever you want, street food, and you could have fun celebrating. It's one of those big celebrations. They have fireworks going off in the middle at nighttime. They start at night and they go off right towards 11 o'clock at night. It's just one of the it's called summer celebrations, summer festivals.
Wow, pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it's one of the most fun time to come. Even though it's kind of hot, but it's a little bit, it's unique, and no other country has that, right?
Yeah. Well, imagine you guys they don't celebrate Thanksgiving or anything, right?
Like I do. I do, but we don't. They don't. We celebrate Christmas, but it's a little bit different, right?
So at Christmas, they eat fried chicken. So
Yep.
KFC is very popular Christmas Day.
Oh, really? That's
That
interesting.
actually started here in the 70s.
Yeah.
It was because in the 70s, that's when Japan got their first KFC.
Mhm.
So the manager of that first KFC said he overheard foreigners saying, "Because there's no turkeys over here, and to have them shipped. Most people can't buy turkeys because majority of people over here either don't have an oven or
Mhm.
ovens are really basically a four whatever 4-tin muffin pan.
Yeah.
Muffin pan only a four is how big those ovens are. Irene has a big oven, but she's not normal with that.
I know
Yeah,
that.
majority of people in Japan don't have an oven. Or
Wow.
like I said, the small amount of people who do, they're really small. You can't fit turkey in there.
Yeah.
So
My-
he overheard foreigners around Thanksgiving time saying how they miss turkey. So then he came to his head, what's close to turkey? Chicken, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's like, how about KFC instead of Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Mhm.
How about in December we change it to Kentucky for Christmas?
Yeah.
So that's when he started the marketing for fried chicken for Christmas, and that's when they have the KFC has their own like Christmas buckets.
Oh, wow.
You can go to the website, order pre ahead of time,
Yeah.
and go in
You get,
there at a certain time and get it.
you get a cake. You get a chicken. You get different cuts of chicken. You get a cake. You get what else do you get? I think you get roll. I think you get those rolls. I think, and you get fries or something like that to go with it.
Wow. That's pretty
Yeah.
neat. I
Right.
never would have guessed.
So we got one in December. It also comes with ours came with a decorative plate because we're like, yeah, for souvenir plate, we want that.
Yeah.
Of course,
We
man.
want it on display to show people when they ask. We're like, yeah, we had KFC on Christmas Day. But
And
that's how all of a sudden it turned into whoever that guy was a marketing genius because he completely turned it. So now
Mhm.
that's what Japan does. Pretty much all of Japan on Christmas eats fried chicken.
Yeah, that was a pretty smart marketing.
when Costco opened up in Japan, right? Now you can get a rotisserie chicken. So they give you a number, and then they only hand out so many numbers. They only make so many rotisserie chickens. So you have to be there early in the daytime, like 10 o'clock, right? And then you line up, and they give you a ticket, and you get your rotisserie chicken. You get one per person, right? That's
Oh,
what
wow.
on Christmas.
That's for Christmas?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
So I usually get my turkey, right? I forget about Thanksgiving, and I keep my turkey for Christmas because turkeys here are really expensive, right? Yeah.
They have to ship them.
Yeah. It looks like they have to go and catch it and kill it and bring it here, right? That's how long it takes to get here. But I mean, how much did you pay for a turkey, right?
Oh, I don't even know, man. I'm trying to think. It's been a while since I bought a turkey. Usually I usually go to we have Thanksgiving somewhere else, so we usually don't buy the turkey. I don't know, like $24, $25, maybe something like that.
Oh man, that's cheap.
Yeah.
Don't get her started.
How much?
90.
Nah, yeah, nah. Wait, hang on a second. Hey,
That's pretty
Christine,
But she always
how much does a turkey cost? Like a big turkey? Yeah. A turkey for Thanksgiving? She's saying $100 for
Oh,
Thanksgiving.
so like a
Turkey
really
is
big one.
$100, like those frozen turkeys. Oh, I didn't know that. She said
Well,
80 to 100.
80.
I guess it depends on what. I thought it was like $25. What do I know about turkey? Yeah, I didn't realize. Yeah, I guess it depends what size you get.
Yeah, for a young one, yeah, it's
My wife just goes, I don't know because I don't cook it.
Yeah,
Well,
Don't
it's funny
get
because my
Irene
wife.
started. Don't get Irene started on some of the stuff she buys though. She overly spends on food. Like, so if you go to the store in America, you go to peanut butter, the small thing of Jiffy for like $2-3, and Irene's laughing because no one ever believes this. You buy it for like $2-3 at the store, right? She
Yeah.
pays $50 for it,
What? That's crazy.
it's just a
and
little.
she always has peanut butter.
Why
I
is
got-
it just because you got to because they ship it in? It costs so much.
Yeah, you got taxes, right? The import tax, and then you pay the tax that when you buy it, you pay the consumption taxes 10%.
Oh wow, holy cow! Now, how does the Japanese dollar compare to American dollar? Are they similar value wise?
No, Japanese, I mean American dollar is like at 150 per
That's
one Japanese 1 yen.
57. Would you 157 yen to American dollar, right?
Well, it wasn't like a 151 yesterday, so it changes.
Yeah,
Oh.
it changes rapidly.
Yeah, 150. It changes every day what it is, but it was like the other day like 151 American dollar to the 1 yen.
Americans, it's cheaper to get a plane ticket now because you can buy a plane ticket for $80 to come to Japan, return.
Oh wow, 80 American dollars.
Yeah,
Oh wow, that's a round trip ticket or one way? Wow, holy cow!
on a Japanese airline, which is also like United Airlines and all Nippon Airlines is all they made partners together, so they go fly out in and out of America 7 days a week.
Oh wow, holy cow!
You can get a great dinner, great meal, drinks included, beverages all included for that price.
Wow, that's pretty good, man.
So that's why I said, come to Japan now. It's cheaper for
One day, man. One day I'll be there.
we'll have fun. And I'll say, Amanda, gotta get over here.
Hey, guys, I might have to get going, but
Okay.
Okay, well, someone did ask where was the most haunted place you've investigated?
the most haunted place. That is a good question, man. You know, probably one of the creepiest places was this place. It's Hillview Manor. I totally just had a brain fart. I was like, my brain was what? Hillview Manor. If you guys have heard of that, it's in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. It's one of the first places I investigated with the team I had joined, like my first official investigation. And that place, it was like a group. It was like a poor folks home, and then a group home, and then a nursing home, and it closed down, and now it's like this ghost home.
Stop.
Should I keep going?
Yeah, go ahead, keep going.
So yeah, so it's the ghost hunting place now and all this stuff. But they got it was like I said, my first big investigation, and there was like shadow figures, and I seen a mist going across the floor I couldn't explain, and we had all kinds of weird sounds and hits on the K2 meters and growls. There were a couple of times we got growled at. Me and the guy that was in charge of our team, we were cleaning up our stuff the next day, and we were down by this one old boiler room, and we were all of a sudden you just heard this. We're like, what? And we couldn't believe it, and then you heard it again. So we couldn't find any explanation. There wasn't any animals down there or anything, but we definitely heard this growl kind of coming from behind the pipes and stuff. So that was kind of crazy. And then one of the guys on our team was this place is huge, but he was in one of the wings, and him and another guy and I think another lady, they were seeing like a shadow down the hall, so they went to investigate it and were kind of started provoking and taunting whatever was there. And the investigator felt like something grabbed him and threw him down. So we went back there and started investigating. We didn't have any of that happen, but we got some, action with the equipment and thought we saw some shadow stuff. But supposedly this guy who was pretty down to earth, he felt like something threw him down. In fact, it was so traumatic to him that he went out and sat in the car for like several hours. And he was like, he was like, like a tough guy, like a real kind of matter of fact, blue collar kind of guy. And, so something happened to him that really shocked him. So that one always sticks out in my mind. And it actually affected me too, because part of it was, there was an area where, I don't know if it was a psychiatry floor, but we were up there and we were getting a lot of activity. But the story was, there was a doctor who had committed suicide. He jumped off the third floor or the fourth floor of the building. But what happened to me was, we were investigating and we were starting to get activity, hearing footsteps in the hall and seeing some shadow figure at the end of the hall. And all of a sudden I got like super sad, like for no reason. I mean, I literally I started crying. I'm like, do I got to get out? Well, do I have to leave here or what's going on? And eventually I stayed there, but I could not understand. Like, it just hit me. Like, I was just sad. And I don't know if I was feeling the sadness of that doctor because I'm a physician too. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah.
That whole place that had all kinds of activity.
He knew that you're a doctor, okay? He knew you, and he knew your profession. And like I said, they know you from inside out, right? When they're spirit. And he knew what you do. That's why you were wailing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. I mean, I even telling you guys the story, I could still kind of feel those feelings. I can remember what those feelings felt like. And it was so crazy because I'm like, why? Why am I feeling this? But it was like this like really deep sadness. You know what I mean? And
they're usually connected to someone with a similar energy, whether you remind them of them personality wise or even hobby wise, or even in your case, I guess, professionally.
Yeah.
You kind of understand.
So that place, and then the other place that was super active, although we didn't have it as a private because it was too big, was Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. Have you guys heard of that one in West Virginia? That place, that was another place with a lot of just stuff running around and shadow figures, and that was a creepy place. That place is so big and creepy that just the place kind of like scares you because it's just so big and dark and foreboding. But that was really active too there. The other thing too, the other place, now I'm thinking about it, is St. Albans in Virginia. I don't know if you guys heard of that place. It's down in Radford, Virginia. That's consistently seems to has activity and growling and people getting touched and you name it. We actually heard a growler there too in that particular place. So yeah.
You wouldn't think that you hear growling, but they both go together like good and bad, right? So
yeah.
That creates that balance in that area.
In fact, the St. Albans place, that was I don't know if I believe about things following you home, but if anything would have followed me home, I felt like that particular time. I remember coming back from there and it was weird. I just didn't feel right. I kind of, I was thinking maybe something followed me home, but I'm a little skeptical about it. But from that St. Albans place in Virginia, I felt like if anything was going to follow me home, it felt like that time I might have had something follow me home. You know what I mean? Because I ended up saging my apartment. I ended up saging the apartment after I got back from there. And
you have to sage yourself too,
Yeah.
Yourself, because you don't want to bring that into your home. You don't want to have that with your children be involved with that too, because they can affect your whole family included, right?
I hear you. So yeah, so those are kind of the three biggest places I can think of off the top of my head. Gettysburg's interesting, although you haven't had the opportunity to investigate a whole lot there. I've been there for events like paranormal conferences and things like that, but Gettysburg's pretty cool. And
I heard a story from someone, and in the picture you can see where in the group of people there was like a space between them, and they said that at Gettysburg they saw someone walking around in uniform, and they assumed, oh, you must work here or reenactor or something.
Yeah.
So they went over and took a picture with them, and they said when they got the pictures, this was before digital cameras. It was the film stuff. When they got the picture back after it was developed, he was gone.
Wow.
Oh wow. That's weird. Yeah.
And everyone in this group swore that guy was there when they took the picture, but then when it developed, nothing. He's not there.
I can believe it. There's a lot of stuff like that happens at Gettysburg. It kind of reminds me of that. Like you guys were talking about the waterfall and the suicide forest. But yeah, it's Gettysburg's one of those places where it's just like, over the top kind of spooky stuff happening and people seeing full body apparitions and you know,
There's
hearing the
been people
gunshots.
who all of a sudden, out of nowhere, walk into basically back then in war, and they see everyone, and they see it's interesting because it looks like they're also looking. Some of them are also looking at them.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Actually, yeah, they do.
There's a
They
lot
saw,
of, yeah. You can find a lot of pictures, I think, online of Gettysburg with potential ghosts.
yeah.
You know, different parts of the battlefield. And you actually feel, so you know, I've been to the battlefield. There's like several, the battlefield's like all over the place around Gettysburg, and when you get there, you can feel the energy. And I don't know if it's psychologic because you know what happened, or if it's the energy there. You can feel something there. Even
It's
for me, I'm not like a big, like I said, I'm not like a psychic kind of guy, but you can feel there's an energy there. So yeah.
it's just different, isn't it, than from the normal,
And
right?
it's probably like what you guys are talking about with the suicide forest. Like you just can feel something there, and it's hard to kind of put words.
It's right here, right? You can
Yeah.
feel it right here,
Yeah,
and when it's right here, it's just like, yeah, you can't explain it, right?
yeah. I did have one interesting experience in Gettysburg. I did investigate there one time with a team I was with. We stayed in this bed and breakfast called the Tilly Pierce House, and we stayed there for the weekend. And we had investigated Friday. We got there Friday, stayed Friday night. Saturday, I was going to go out around town, and I was standing on the landing of the second floor. But then there's a third floor with a full attic that you could stand up in. It wasn't finished, but you could stand up there. And supposedly, Confederate soldiers had been up there sniping during the war. And anyways, I was standing on the landing. You really couldn't, the stairs went up and then switched back up, so you couldn't see up there. But I heard this moaning noise. They're like, and I thought it was like one of the other dudes there, like other people, because there was like 8 of us there. I'm like, somebody's messing with me, And I'm like, hey, who's up there? And this voice goes, I'm like, come on, man. I'm like, I started saying people's names, like, hey, come on, Lyle, or hey, come on, Dennis, whatever. I'm like, who's up there? And then this voice goes, and it did it like 3 or 4 times. And then a friend of mine came out and they heard it too. So their eyes got real big. They're like, what? Because they heard it and I was hearing it. Then I wasn't afraid till I saw them be afraid. But then I'm like, shoot, I'm here to ghost hunt. So I went up the stairs to look. I'm like, I got to see what's up here, right? And there wasn't anything up there, but it wasn't like a EVP. It wasn't a spirit box. It was disembodied voice. It was like, like it was injured or something up there. I don't know, but it was clearly just, I had this back and forth with it. So I'm like, come on, what's your name? What this and that? And stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, I bet there's a lot of makeshift hospitals in some of the houses too, right? So
yeah, and I think a lot of places were used like as a hospital. That I don't know if that particular house was, but they used it as a sniping place. Like the Union troops had it, then they got pushed back, and then the Confederates took the house, and then they were using it to kind of snipe the Union troops from that house. But I don't know if they actually had. Imagine they probably had wounded people there.
You know what? In a place like that, you'd find injuries, right? You'd find people who were hit by a bullet or whatever, right? You'd find, no matter where you go, in any kind of like a so-called war zone, there's got to be something there, right? Or else you wouldn't be growing, right?
Yeah, there's definitely, if you're ever in America, come to America. Gettysburg is definitely, it's a good place to check out. It's good for the history, but the ghost hunting is pretty cool, and even just the energy, you can really sense the vibe there. So,
I think that's cool.
Rain can tell you that's like that over here in the bombing areas too, that you can still feel a lot of the energy. Go to the museum, some of that stuff, you feel a lot of that energy still too.
The one place that's really bad is where she is. They have atomic bomb peace building. That's really haunted. I mean, that's so freaky haunted, you wouldn't believe it. My husband said, no, it's not. And he said, my son and I said, yes, it is. They have artifacts from melted plastic or melted doorbells or doors and stuff. And yeah, I mean, you could feel it, you could touch it. The energy in that room, the energy in that building is so different. It's just, and they have letters of doctors who treated patients who were burnt by from the atomic bomb, right?
Yeah.
the spurts of it, and they got burnt on the backs and the bodies. And apparently, the doctor died too because the person who was treating it was also he got sick and he eventually died. They have all this letters and pictures. And yeah, it's awfully. If you don't have a strong stomach, I mean, it'll be hard for anybody to look at it, right? But I
You
mean,
can't imagine. Yeah, that's a
but I
tragedy.
mean, the artifacts in there are not to be taken lightly because they have spirit attachments to them, and they're pretty bad. Let's put it that way. I will not go into that building again. I went there once. I nearly got sick. I nearly left the place in an ambulance, but I decided, nope, I'm gonna stick it out. I'm laying down. When you guys finish, we're gonna leave. So I said, yep, we're leaving now. And I said, good.
I could imagine if you're having psychic abilities and going to a place like that, it must just be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Feel all that, yeah.
It was
Especially, well, especially if you're not psychic and you can feel it. I can't imagine like if you're tuned into it, it's definitely got to be like overwhelming.
It makes you sick inside. Like,
Yeah,
I bet if I went to the hospital, I bet there's nothing wrong with you. You can go home now. I go, okay, fine. Every doctor will tell you that, right? They say, well, okay, yeah, but nobody would believe me, right?
Now it seems like places can affect you. I know there's been a few times I felt weird, and there's been a few times where I've been with people that got sick and they had to go out. They always say here, like if you start feeling bad or you feel threatened, just get out of the go take a break and get some fresh air. But I've been in the investigations where people got sick and had to go out, and stuff like that, or they get super anxious and things like that. So it does seem like places can definitely affect you.
Yeah, most definitely. So, anything else, Amanda?
Thank you so much for joining us. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's a great talk. Thanks for having me too.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
And thank you for the guests who are commenting and asking questions because it was really nice. We really appreciate for everybody who's joining in, tuning in us, and talking to us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we had a lot of fun. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you.
And, thank you guys.
And if you ever hop on a plane, come to the site, look me up before we hop
on.
I
will. And if you guys ever want me on again, I'm happy to come on again.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to have you again.
Yeah, sure. And we'll talk about more and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah.
And everyone who tuned in, thank you so much for watching.
We'll thanks. See you later, Donnie. Donnie Parker was on there.
Yeah. See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye.